Can a reality be reshaped by reconstructing a narrative of self-identity? Can the use of global information, the need to belong, and local roots coexist, integrating a new process of representation? Is it possible to create a social construction able to generate better life conditions adapting global concepts such as sustainability? The Globalization and World Cities Group and Network observes 3 different kinds of global cities. Alpha cities are able to directly transform world economics. Beta cities create regional transformations affecting world economics. Gamma cities give rise to local transformations affecting regional economics. Mexico City is a beta city, as are San Francisco and Zurich, and has been integrated into the global economy since the 1980s. Within the metropolitan zone of Mexico City, which has a population of 18.7 million, there are 2 separate political entities. The Federal District, which is divided into 16 boroughs, and the State of Mexico, which is divided into 59 municipalities. Mexico City is divided by gentrification and segmentation into the included formal and the excluded informal, into gated communities and precarious dwellings. Services, infrastructures, business, and industry are concentrated in the west side of the city, while the east side lacks these systems. There is a segregation in terms of socioeconomic distribution. Those with the highest level of income are concentrated in the west side, and the ones with the lowest level of income are located in the east side. The municipality of Chimalhuacán is located to the east of Mexico City. Chimalhuacán has a population of 490,000, most of them living as squatters in informal settlements. The urban layout of most new areas in Chimalhuacán is defined by various political forces, who run a business based on taking pieces of land and selling them to the inhabitants by means of informal exchange. The urban conditions of Chimalhuacán clearly demonstrate that with a lack of local services, functional public spaces, proper infrastructure, legality, and labor, people live in marginality. Most of these systems can only be found outside of Chimalhuacán, causing the necessity for mobility. Part of this marginality is a high vulnerability to floods and exposure to open-air sewage and waste disposal sites. Winds come from the north, passing over the dumps and sewage directly into Chimalhuacán. The most extreme example of this marginality are the recent cases of rabies found in humans. The social construction runs parallel to the physical construction of Chimalhuacán. The creation of their own identities comes from those elements that define the aspects which identify them. Representation constitutes an important aspect of the way the city is narrated and studied, and is influenced by cultural patterns, lifestyles, behaviors, and habits. As Margaret Crawford said, urban public space can after all be conceived as a representative space, as a potential support for new meanings, which are activated by social usage and the social imagination. Sustainability means satisfying the needs of the present without compromising the environment for future generations. Sustainable development on a global and local scale calls for urban and territorial ecosystems that must function for centuries. The city, seen as an ecosystem, exploits other systems to maintain or increase its complexity. Dieter de Klerk wrote, based on Michel de Certeau's ideas, that strategies represent the activities of the powerful, who act with the intention of making profit and define the locations in which the non-powerful must act. Strategies demand their own spatial or institutional location from which citizens can be controlled. In contrast, everyday activities or tactics are characterized by inventive action or the creative appropriation of predefined places or materials. People who find themselves beyond authority or the organizing bodies do not have a formal place of their own available, but only the appropriated space in the city. The global strategy of sustainability must be adapted into tactics according to local conditions to effect change in Chimalhuacán. Specific tactics can create new conditions for existence and determine new social and spatial structures. What are the driving forces that will begin a process of sustainability? Is it possible to reshape methods of construction of representation so that a community looks forward to changing its behaviors? To create a social construction able to bring about better conditions by means of sustainable tactics?